Stories and Documentary Network. The Kingdom of Mitanni, an ancient Hurrian state, emerged as a significant political and cultural force in the Near East during the second millennium BCE. Located in a strategically crucial region, Mitanni's influence extended over modern-day northern Syria, southeastern Turkey, and parts of northern Iraq. Although it remains less well-known compared to some of its contemporaries, such as Egypt or Mesopotamia, Mitanni played a vital role in the political and cultural landscape of its time. Mitanni's historical significance lies in its ability to establish and maintain a powerful empire through strategic diplomacy, military prowess, and cultural integration. It was a major player in the intricate network of alliances and rivalries that characterized the ancient Near East. The kingdom's rulers were adept at negotiating with other powers, including Egypt, the Hittite Empire, and the Assyrian state, shaping the region's political dynamics for several centuries. The kingdom's contribution to the region's history is underscored by its sophisticated administrative systems, vibrant culture, and its role as a conduit for cultural and technological exchange. Mitanni's impact is evident in its art, religion, and interactions with neighboring civilizations, making it an essential subject of study for understanding the broader context of ancient Near Eastern history. Mitanni's geographical location was strategically situated in the intersection of major trade routes that linked Mesopotamia with the Mediterranean and Anatolia. This position allowed Mitanni to control vital trade routes and exert influence over a vast and diverse region. The kingdom's territory primarily included parts of modern-day Syria, southeastern Turkey, and northern Iraq, encompassing the upper reaches of the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. The Kingdom of Mitanni thrived from approximately the 16th to the 13th centuries BCE. During this period, it grew from a relatively minor state into a formidable empire, establishing itself as a significant power in the Near East. The kingdom's decline began in the late 13th century BCE, culminating in its absorption by the expanding Assyrian Empire and the shifting political landscape of the region. The Kingdom of Mitanni, known for its strategic significance and cultural achievements, emerged from the interplay of various peoples and political forces in the ancient Near East. The origins of Mitanni are closely linked to the Hurrians, an ancient ethnic group that settled in the region during the early second millennium BCE. The Hurrians were originally from the mountainous areas of eastern Anatolia and the Caucasus but gradually migrated into northern Mesopotamia and the surrounding regions. The formation of Mitanni as a distinct political entity can be traced to the early 16th century BCE when it coalesced from a collection of Hurrian tribes and small city-states. These tribes united under a central authority, establishing a kingdom that leveraged its strategic location and military prowess to exert influence over neighboring regions. The precise details of Mitanni's early political structure are somewhat obscure due to limited archaeological evidence, but it is clear that the kingdom was founded on a combination of military conquest, strategic alliances, and integration of local cultures. The role of the Hurrians in this formation was pivotal. The Hurrians brought with them a distinct cultural and linguistic heritage, which significantly influenced the development of Mitanni's identity. Their administrative practices, religious beliefs, and artistic traditions became integral to Mitanni's culture, shaping the kingdom's political and cultural landscape. Mitanni's geographic location was both advantageous and strategically significant. Positioned at the crossroads of major trade routes that connected Mesopotamia with Anatolia and the Mediterranean, Mitanni controlled a crucial area for commerce and military movement. This location allowed Mitanni to become a central player in the regional politics of the ancient Near East, influencing and being influenced by neighboring powers. The political landscape of the Near East during the Mitanni period was characterized by a complex web of rivalries and alliances. To the west, Egypt was a dominant power, with its influence extending into the Levant. To the north and northeast, the Hittite Empire was a major force, while to the east, the Assyrian Empire was a rising power with ambitions of expansion. Mitanni navigated this intricate geopolitical environment by forming strategic alliances and engaging in diplomatic negotiations. The kingdom established a notable alliance with Egypt, highlighted by the marriage of Mitanni princesses to Egyptian pharaohs and the exchange of diplomatic correspondence. This alliance was instrumental in Mitanni's efforts to counterbalance the influence of the Hittites and Assyrians. Internally, Mitanni's political structure was marked by a strong centralized authority, with the king playing a crucial role in governance and military leadership. The Mitannian kings were known for their diplomatic acumen and military capabilities, which allowed them to maintain the kingdom's prominence in a competitive and often volatile regional context. The Hurrians, who were instrumental in the formation and development of Mitanni, brought with them a rich cultural and linguistic heritage that significantly shaped the kingdom. The Hurrian language, a non-Semitic and non-Indo-European language, was used extensively in Mitanni, particularly in administrative and religious contexts. While the language itself did not have a widespread written tradition, it influenced the development of Mitanni's official language and administrative practices. Culturally, the Hurrians were known for their distinct art and religious practices. Hurrian art often featured intricate designs and motifs that blended with local artistic traditions in Mitanni, resulting in a unique style that reflected both indigenous and foreign influences. This amalgamation can be seen in Mitannian artifacts such as pottery, sculptures, and jewelry. Mitanni made significant contributions to the art, literature, and religion of the ancient Near East. Artistically, Mitanni was renowned for its elaborate carvings, pottery, and metalwork, which often showcased intricate patterns and detailed craftsmanship. The kingdom's artistic achievements were influenced by and integrated with the styles of neighboring cultures, including those of Egypt and the Hittites. In literature, Mitanni's contributions were largely influenced by Hurrian traditions. Though direct literary texts from Mitanni are scarce, the kingdom's cultural and intellectual heritage was preserved through inscriptions and royal decrees. These texts often reflected the values and religious beliefs of the Mitannian elite. Religiously, Mitanni's beliefs were a synthesis of Hurrian and local traditions. The Mitannian pantheon included Hurrian deities such as Teshub, the storm god, and his consort Hepat. Religious practices involved rituals and ceremonies that were integral to both the public and private lives of Mitanni's people. Temples and religious sites throughout the kingdom served as centers for worship and community gathering, illustrating the central role of religion in Mitannian society. Mitanni's governance and administrative systems were characterized by a centralized authority with a strong monarchy at its core. The king held supreme power and was seen as both a political and religious leader. The administrative structure of Mitanni was organized to effectively manage its diverse and expansive territory. The kingdom was divided into provinces or regions, each governed by local rulers who were often appointed by the king. These local rulers were responsible for the administration of their regions, including tax collection, legal matters, and local defense. The central authority maintained control through a network of officials and messengers who ensured that the king's decrees were implemented throughout the kingdom. Mitanni's legal and bureaucratic systems were sophisticated for their time, incorporating elements from both Hurrian and Mesopotamian traditions. The kingdom's administrative practices included the use of written records and inscriptions to manage various aspects of governance, such as land ownership, trade, and diplomacy. The king of Mitanni was a central figure in both governance and society. As the highest authority, the king was responsible for making crucial decisions related to politics, military strategy, and diplomatic relations. The king's role extended beyond governance to encompass religious duties, with the monarch often serving as a mediator between the gods and the people. The nobility in Mitanni played a significant role in supporting the king's rule. The aristocracy comprised high-ranking officials, military leaders, and landowners who held significant power and influence. These nobles were often granted extensive lands and resources in exchange for their loyalty and service to the king. They were responsible for administering their respective regions and maintaining order within their territories. The relationship between the king and the nobility was one of mutual dependence. The king relied on the support and loyalty of the nobles to maintain control over the kingdom, while the nobles benefited from the king's protection and patronage. This dynamic created a hierarchical structure where power and authority were concentrated at the top, with the king at its apex and the nobility serving as key intermediaries in the governance of the kingdom. The rise of the kingdom of Mitanni was marked by a series of key figures and events that established its dominance in the ancient Near East. The early history of Mitanni is somewhat shrouded in mystery due to the scarcity of contemporary records. However, the kingdom's ascent can be traced back to the mid-16th century BCE, when it began to emerge as a significant political entity. One of the most notable figures in Mitanni's rise was King Saushtatar, who is often credited with founding the Mitannian Empire. Saushtatar's military and diplomatic efforts were instrumental in consolidating Mitanni's power. His reign marked the expansion of the kingdom's territory and influence, setting the stage for Mitanni's dominance in the region. Under Saushtatar and his successors, Mitanni extended its control over a vast territory, incorporating regions in modern-day Syria, southeastern Turkey, and northern Iraq. The kingdom's rise was characterized by a combination of military conquests and strategic alliances, which allowed it to exert influence over neighboring states and integrate various cultural elements into its own society. Mitanni's expansion was a crucial phase in its rise to power. The kingdom's military campaigns enabled it to acquire new territories and secure its borders against rival powers. The expansion efforts were not merely territorial but also aimed at establishing Mitanni's political and economic dominance in the region. Consolidation of power involved the establishment of administrative structures to manage the newly acquired territories. This included appointing local rulers and integrating various ethnic groups into the Mitannian administrative system. The kingdom's ability to effectively govern its diverse population and maintain stability was key to its success and longevity. Mitanni's consolidation was also marked by the development of a sophisticated bureaucracy and legal system, which helped manage the kingdom's complex administrative needs. The central authority worked to ensure that the integration of new regions was smooth and that local rulers remained loyal to the king. Mitanni's military history was characterized by both aggressive expansion and defensive campaigns. The kingdom's strategic location and growing power inevitably led to conflicts with neighboring states, including the Hittites, Assyrians, and Egyptians. One of the major conflicts involved the Hittite Empire, which was a powerful rival to Mitanni. The Hittites, under rulers such as Suppiluliuma I, engaged in a series of military campaigns against Mitanni. These conflicts were driven by competition for control over trade routes and regional influence. The rivalry between Mitanni and the Hittites was a defining feature of the political landscape during this period. Mitanni also faced challenges from the expanding Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians, under kings such as Ashur-uballit I, sought to expand their territory into Mitannian-controlled regions. The Assyrian-Mitannian conflicts were marked by a series of military engagements and shifting alliances, reflecting the dynamic and often volatile nature of Near Eastern politics. In addition to its military campaigns, Mitanni was known for its strategic alliances and diplomatic relations with other ancient powers. One of the most significant alliances was with Egypt. The Mitannian kings established diplomatic ties with Egyptian pharaohs through marriage alliances and treaties. For instance, the marriage of Mitannian princesses to Egyptian rulers helped solidify the alliance between the two powers. The relationship with Egypt was instrumental in balancing the influence of other major powers, such as the Hittites and Assyrians. Mitanni's diplomatic strategy involved navigating complex alliances and rivalries to maintain its position in the region. The kingdom's ability to forge and sustain these alliances demonstrated its diplomatic skill and political acumen. The economy of the Kingdom of Mitanni was diverse and sophisticated, relying on a combination of agriculture, trade, and industry to sustain and expand its power. Agriculture formed the backbone of Mitanni's economy. The kingdom benefited from the fertile lands along the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, which supported the cultivation of essential crops such as barley, wheat, and legumes. The agricultural surplus allowed for the support of a large population and provided resources for trade and tribute. Trade played a crucial role in Mitanni's economic prosperity. The kingdom's strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes facilitated extensive commercial interactions with neighboring regions. Mitanni engaged in trade with Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and the Levant, exchanging goods such as textiles, metalwork, and luxury items. The kingdom was known for its high-quality products, including finely crafted pottery and jewelry, which were sought after in regional markets. Industry in Mitanni included a range of activities, from metallurgy to textile production. The kingdom's skilled artisans produced metal goods, including weapons and tools, as well as textiles made from wool and linen. The development of local industries supported both domestic needs and trade, contributing to Mitanni's economic stability. Mitanni's location was pivotal in its economic success. The kingdom controlled key trade routes that linked Mesopotamia with Anatolia, the Levant, and the Mediterranean. This strategic positioning allowed Mitanni to act as a conduit for goods and resources moving between these regions. Trade routes passing through Mitanni facilitated the exchange of a wide range of products, including precious metals, spices, and luxury items. These routes also enabled Mitanni to engage in diplomatic and cultural exchanges with other civilizations, enhancing its influence and economic clout. Economic interactions with neighboring regions were not limited to trade. Mitanni participated in regional alliances and agreements that influenced trade practices and economic policies. The kingdom's ability to leverage its position on these trade routes contributed significantly to its wealth and power. Trade had a profound impact on Mitanni's culture and society. The influx of goods from various regions led to the adoption and adaptation of new cultural practices, artistic styles, and technological innovations. This exchange enriched Mitanni's cultural heritage and facilitated the blending of different traditions. The kingdom's interactions with other cultures introduced new artistic motifs and techniques, which were incorporated into Mitannian art and architecture. For example, motifs and styles from Mesopotamia and Anatolia can be seen in Mitannian artifacts, reflecting the kingdom's openness to external influences. Mitanni's artistic and technological exchanges with neighboring civilizations were significant. The kingdom's artisans were influenced by the artistic traditions of Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and Egypt. This influence is evident in the design of Mitannian pottery, sculptures, and metalwork, which often feature elements from these cultures. Technological exchanges also played a role in Mitanni's development. The introduction of new technologies, such as advanced metalworking techniques and architectural innovations, contributed to the kingdom's prosperity and military capabilities. For instance, Mitanni's military technology benefited from interactions with neighboring powers, leading to advancements in weaponry and fortifications. Mitanni's cultural and technological exchanges were facilitated through trade, diplomacy, and military interactions. These exchanges helped shape Mitanni's identity and contributed to its role as a significant player in the ancient Near East. The religion of the Kingdom of Mitanni was heavily influenced by Hurrian religious traditions, and its pantheon included a range of deities that were central to Mitannian worship. The primary gods of Mitanni included Teshub, the storm god, often depicted wielding a thunderbolt, was one of the chief deities in Mitanni. He was associated with weather phenomena and was considered a powerful protector and ruler of the heavens. Hepat, the consort of Teshub, Hepat was the goddess of fertility and motherhood. She was often depicted alongside Teshub and played a crucial role in religious rituals and practices. Shashka, the goddess of love and war, Shashka was a significant figure in Mitannian religion, embodying both the nurturing and destructive aspects of divinity. Kumarbi, a deity associated with the earth and vegetation, Kumarbi was revered for his role in agricultural fertility and seasonal cycles. Religious rituals in Mitanni involved various ceremonies and sacrifices conducted to appease the gods and ensure their favor. These rituals included offerings of food, libations, and animal sacrifices, often performed in temples or sacred spaces dedicated to the gods. Festivals and ceremonies were held to mark important events in the agricultural calendar and to seek divine assistance in times of crisis. Religion played a central role in Mitannian governance and daily life. The king was not only a political leader but also a religious figure who acted as a mediator between the gods and the people. The divine right of kingship was a key aspect of Mitannian rule, with the king's authority being legitimized through religious rituals and the endorsement of the gods. Temples and religious institutions were important centers of power and influence. They were responsible for conducting rituals, managing offerings, and maintaining the religious infrastructure of the kingdom. High priests and priestesses held significant positions within Mitannian society, and their roles extended into the political and administrative spheres. Daily life in Mitanni was deeply intertwined with religious practices. Religious beliefs influenced various aspects of social life, including family rituals, burial customs, and agricultural practices. The Mitannian people participated in regular religious activities, such as attending temple ceremonies and observing religious festivals, which were integral to their cultural identity and social cohesion. Mitannian mythology was rich with stories and legends that reflected the beliefs and values of the society. These myths often centered around the actions and relationships of the gods and their interactions with humans. Some key myths included the myth of Teshub and Kumarbi. One of the central myths in Hurrian and Mitannian tradition involved the conflict between Teshub and Kumarbi. This myth depicted Teshub's struggle to overthrow Kumarbi, the god of the earth, and establish his own dominion over the heavens. The story was emblematic of the themes of cosmic struggle and the triumph of order over chaos. The story of the creation. Mitannian creation myths often involved the gods shaping the world from primordial chaos. These myths describe the formation of the earth, the heavens, and the creation of humans, reflecting the religious and cosmological views of the Mitannian people. Hurrian mythology had a profound influence on Mitannian religion, as the Hurrians were the primary cultural and ethnic group behind the establishment of Mitanni. Many Mitannian religious practices, deities, and myths were derived from or inspired by Hurrian traditions. The incorporation of Hurrian deities into the Mitannian pantheon led to a blending of religious practices and beliefs. The gods and myths of the Hurrians were adapted to fit the Mitannian context, resulting in a synthesis of cultural and religious elements that characterized Mitanni's spiritual life. The decline of the Kingdom of Mitanni was the result of a combination of external pressures and internal strife. Several key factors contributed to the kingdom's fall: military defeats and external pressures. Mitanni faced significant military challenges from neighboring powers, particularly the Hittites and Assyrians. The Hittite Empire, under rulers such as Suppiluliuma I, waged a series of campaigns against Mitanni, capturing key cities and territories. Similarly, the Assyrian Empire, expanding under kings like Ashur-uballit I, exerted pressure on Mitanni's borders, leading to military defeats and loss of territory. Internal strife and succession issues. The internal political stability of Mitanni was undermined by succession crises and internal strife. Disputes over the throne and factionalism within the ruling elite weakened the kingdom's ability to respond effectively to external threats. The lack of a strong central authority and internal divisions further contributed to the kingdom's vulnerability. Economic decline. Economic factors, including the disruption of trade routes and declining agricultural productivity, also played a role in Mitanni's decline. The kingdom's economic base was severely affected by the loss of territory and trade networks, which in turn weakened its military and administrative capabilities. The combined impact of external pressures and internal strife led to the fragmentation of Mitanni's territory and its eventual collapse. The constant warfare with neighboring powers drained the kingdom's resources and undermined its stability. Internal conflicts and succession disputes exacerbated the kingdom's difficulties, leading to a lack of cohesive leadership and effective governance. The fall of Mitanni marked a significant shift in the balance of power in the ancient Near East. The Assyrian Empire eventually absorbed much of Mitanni's territory, while the Hittites gained control over key regions. This shift contributed to the reconfiguration of political boundaries and alliances in the region. Despite its decline, the legacy of the Kingdom of Mitanni continued to influence subsequent civilizations in the ancient Near East. The cultural and political contributions of Mitanni were absorbed and adapted by neighboring powers, including the Assyrians and Hittites. Cultural influence. Mitanni's art, religious practices, and administrative systems had a lasting impact on the region. The fusion of Hurrian and Mitannian artistic styles influenced the art and architecture of neighboring civilizations. Religious practices and deities from Mitanni were integrated into the cultural frameworks of subsequent empires, reflecting the continuity of Mitannian cultural elements. Political and administrative contributions. The administrative and bureaucratic systems developed by Mitanni influenced the governance structures of later empires. The kingdom's practices in managing diverse territories and integrating different cultures were adapted by the Assyrians and Hittites, contributing to the evolution of administrative techniques in the ancient Near East. Archaeological discoveries have played a crucial role in shedding light on the history and culture of Mitanni. Key discoveries include inscriptions and texts. Inscriptions and texts from Mitanni provide valuable insights into the kingdom's administrative practices, religious beliefs, and diplomatic relations. These texts, often found on clay tablets and inscriptions, offer information on royal decrees, treaties, and religious rituals. Artifacts and artworks. Artifacts such as pottery, metalwork, and sculptures have been excavated from Mitannian sites, revealing details about the kingdom's artistic and cultural achievements. These artifacts illustrate the blending of Hurrian and local artistic traditions and provide evidence of Mitanni's trade and cultural interactions. Architectural remains. The remains of Mitannian temples, palaces, and fortifications offer insights into the kingdom's architectural style and urban planning. These structures reflect the kingdom's administrative and religious significance, as well as its strategic military capabilities. The Kingdom of Mitanni, a prominent power in the ancient Near East, played a significant role in shaping the region's political, cultural, and economic landscape. Established by the Hurrians in the mid-16th century BCE, Mitanni emerged as a major player through a combination of military prowess, strategic alliances, and effective governance. The kingdom's expansion and consolidation were marked by the rise of influential rulers such as King Saushtatar, who secured its dominance through conquests and diplomatic maneuvers. Mitanni's society was characterized by a rich cultural heritage influenced by Hurrian traditions. The kingdom's religious practices centered around deities like Teshub and Hepat, reflecting a synthesis of Hurrian and local beliefs. The economic foundation of Mitanni relied on agriculture, trade, and industry, with its strategic location facilitating extensive commercial interactions with neighboring regions. Trade also fostered cultural exchanges, enriching Mitannian art and technology. The decline of Mitanni resulted from a combination of external pressures from rival powers such as the Hittites and Assyrians, internal strife, and economic challenges. The kingdom's fall led to its absorption by neighboring empires, altering the political dynamics of the ancient Near East.